I hope everyone had a nice break, and welcome back to the end of the world.
What an epic way to start the class. Welcome back to the end of the world. And it does kind of seem like the world is ending in a way, right? We have US troops reportedly being told that the war in Iran is intended to bring about biblical end times, or AKA Armageddon, which is a little disconcerting, I have to say, in so many different ways.
So as you know, World War III has started. The United States and Israel have started to attack Iran. And we are now in the 4th day of this war. And we can expect this war to last for many weeks, possibly also for many years. But I promise you that after this war is done, the world will never be the same again.
The world will never be the same again, says Professor Jiang, who has a wonderful, fantastic channel here on YouTube called Predictive History, which we will lean on a lot today to try to figure out why we're even in this war and what the world could look like once all the dust settles. All right, let's take a listen.
America at some point will go to war with Iran, and this will destroy both countries, okay? Iran will not lose this war, but it won't win this war either, because America is just gonna bomb the crap out of Iran. It's gonna send Iran back decades. But America will lose this war, but this is important because if America loses this war, it's forced out of the Middle East. And once it's forced out of the Middle East, all its military assets goes to Israel, which creates the Pax Judaica. Yeah, does that make sense, guys? That's the plan.
Already 30 seconds in, a lot to unpack there. But the biggest question probably for all of us is, what the heck is Pax Judeica? Let's do a little bit of political science work here. Pax Judeica is a geopolitical concept modeled after historical eras like Pax Romana, describing a period of Middle Eastern stability maintained through Israeli regional hegemony and strategic integration with its Arab neighbors. It posits that a quote-unquote peace, interesting that it is in quotation marks, peace, can be sustained by prioritizing shared economic interests such as high-tech trade and energy corridors and mutual security concerns, specifically the collective containment of Iran. While proponents view this as a pragmatic evolution of the Abraham Accords that moves the region towards a post-oil tech economy, critics argue the framework is inherently fragile because it attempts to manage regional order while largely bypassing the core tensions of the Israeli and Palestinian conflict. So basically, to summarize, a new world order with Israel in control. Got it.
Yeah, does that make sense, guys? That's the plan. Okay, now you have Pax Judeica. And what Pax Judeica will do is start to control the world. Because through chaos and conflict, Pax Judeica can make a lot of money, right? Because Pax Judeica, what's going to happen is that you have these technology companies like Google, they're going to move over to Pax Judeica and build a global surveillance state. You have civil wars, you need AI to control people. If you're going to war with Russia, you need weapons, okay? But you also need financing as well. So you can expect a lot of banks to move to Israel, and it's possible Israel becomes now the global reserve currency because everyone is trading with Israel.
Interesting what he's talking about there. He's talking about global financial control, and he's talking about mass surveillance, which I believe plans are already well underway. Okay, last month, we witnessed the largest ever purchase of an Israeli-founded tech company, a cybersecurity unicorn called Wiz, which Google acquired for a staggering $32 billion. We also have reports that this cybersecurity technology is how we were able to plot and kill Iran's supreme leader. And the great Baron Coleman, who at this point is probably Erica Kirk's biggest nemesis, other than maybe Candace Owens, made an interesting observation around this hacking of traffic cameras, saying, quote, "It makes you wonder about the nationwide traffic camera infrastructure being installed across our own country, and A, the true purpose of it, and B, who has access to it." It's almost like everybody is working in concert. The powers that be, they're all working together to move this plan forward, which I don't pretend to know the totality of this plan quite yet, but just connecting some of the dots. Which, here's another dot. a clip of a US-born venture capitalist who left America for Israel, now telling everybody that they must come straight to Israel.
He said, can you even say shalom in New York anymore? That's what Miriam said this morning. So just to pick up on that, what I'll tell everybody is skip Miami. If you're leaving New York, just come straight to Israel. The other thing going on right now is IMEC. And we have here in the audience, Daria, wait, raise your hand. Daria Pishavar, her father and I, Shervin, wrote an article together about how there will be peace between Israel and Iran. As President Trump said, they will join the Abraham Accords. And Noor Pahlavi is here. Her Excellency, thank you for joining us. And I think we'll see, by the way, even more regional integration with the 70 million people of Iran and all the other Gulf nations. And as IMEC runs through Israel, the opportunities are literally going to be limitless. And so we will, over the next decade, build this trillion-dollar economy. And you can decide. You can stay here in New York in a declining empire, or you can come to Israel, which is part of the rising middle of the world, which is moving south and east. That's what I encourage you to do. I did it.
You can stay in New York in a declining empire, or you can come to Israel. And in terms of peace with Iran, I wonder what specific tactics the Israelis and the Americans, for that matter, are using to bring Iran into the fold. I don't know. And also back to the point of America being a declining empire. I'm not saying we're not a declining empire. I think we certainly are by many metrics, but the elephant in the room, the big question is, could there be this foreign country that is siphoning the value out of America and strip mining everything? Could that be being done deliberately to weaken the United States?
So you can expect a lot of banks to move to Israel, and it's possible Israel becomes now the global reserve currency because everyone is trading with Israel. If you're Russia, you need to trade with, you need to trade your resources, right? Oil, energy, and grain, okay? So Russia controls a third of the world's carbohydrates. Guess what, guys? Israel controls Africa. So what will happen is that Russia and other countries will sign a trade agreement with Israel, and Israel becomes the center of global trade. Okay? Does that make sense? So this is how Pax Judaica will profit. And remember that Israel has the world's best intelligence agency, the Mossad. And what they can do is go around the world and create as much chaos as possible.
Dude, Professor Jiang is a baller, yo. Nothing left to ambiguity. And he is absolutely not wrong. Okay, we have, in fact, documented evidence of all of this. This isn't just some crazy conspiracy theory.
Guys, this is Dubai World. It's literally a port, a seaport, which means if you're seeing rockets fly over your head and hitting this port, it did not come from Iran because Iran is there. We won't see any rockets flying over our head unless we're in a ship. The rockets you've seen came from the opposite direction, and everyone witnessed it. No more lies, motherfuckers.
Tucker Carlson claims Saudi Arabia and Qatar arrested Mossad agents planning bombings. Let's take a listen here.
It really, really hurts these countries, and Israel wanted to hurt these countries. That's the point. Wanted to hurt these countries. Wanted to sow chaos and disorder because they are rivals of Israel. So it's probably not, hasn't been reported, but it's a fact that last night in Qatar and Saudi Arabia, authorities arrested Mossad agents planning on committing bombings in those countries. Now, that's weird. That doesn't make any sense. Why would the Israelis be committing bombings in two Gulf countries, which are also being attacked by Iran? Aren't they on the same side? No. No. Israel wants to hurt Iran and Qatar and UAE and Saudi and Bahrain and Oman and Kuwait.
And just full disclosure, Tucker Carlson did not cite his sources, so we cannot independently verify those claims, but it does make you at the very least question the official reports. And given some of the things that we've seen on the ground, it's something that we should absolutely do. And also, it should make you think about the lengths that Israel is willing to go to sow discord, racism, and violence in your own country. Reference this headline of an Israeli man arrested for bomb threats against Canadian and United States Jewish targets. what is going on here? Could Israel be actually willing to sacrifice people of their own religion, the religion they purport to want to protect in order to advance this project of theirs that is evidently seeking global dominance? I don't know the answer, but it is a very dark thought.
So while the world is burning, Israel, Pax Judaica, is profiting. And that's what the future looks like for the next 10, 20 years. And this will, of course, lead to the rise of the Antichrist.
Speaking of the Antichrist, let's talk about Christianity a little bit. Has the church been infiltrated in service of the creation of Pax Judaica?
You go to any church or government building, the cornerstone is most often visible. It's not usually buried in some dark subterranean corner of the foundation, never to be seen. It is the stone from which the building springs upward. There can be no doubt, however, that the building that became Western political thought and therefore the free world was built on a foundation of Judaism. Without millennia of Jewish faith and struggle, there is no Christianity. The foundation is an often unseen and much smaller component of a building structure, but it is nonetheless completely indispensable. After thousands of years of war and diaspora, Israel represents the enduring presence of Jews in the Holy Land and the protection of that biblical history. Communists and Islamists understand the critical nature of Jews and Judaism to human society. It's fundamental. That's why they attack Judaism, not just Israel, and they want to see it erased from the Middle East. Israel is therefore not just a political jurisdiction. It is a representation of Jewish political, economic, and spiritual power that is related to Christianity and related to Western society and the free world. The jihadists and the Marxists both know that a building unsupported by its foundation will crumble. If Judaism is broken through the erasure of Jews from the Middle East, which is the goal of the Palestinians and the radical Islamists, then Christianity will also become more vulnerable. Spreading generically anti-Israel messaging is anti-Semitic because weakening Israel's right to existence will lead to not only the killing of more Jews, but the erosion of Judeo-Christian principles upon which the Western world is based.
Wow, that is to a T how you use theology to forward some kind of global foreign policy agenda that is deeply, deeply unpopular, which, of course, you can choose to believe that if you wish. I'm not here to tell you what you can or what you should or should not believe, but somehow what he's saying there is that the Christian faith, Christianity as a whole, would be under threat if not for the nation of Israel, and they are using that as justification to basically then ban all criticism of the Israeli government. That, to me, is wild. And by the way, all of this is happening at the same time that they, in this case, this is the IDF, saying that Purim, triumph over an enemy seeking your destruction. Centuries later, we are reliving that same story.
Purim, a story of surviving in the face of an enemy that seeks your destruction. Sound familiar?
Actually, no. I don't know what that is. What is that? The Book of Esther's violent ending when an oppressed group massacres others. The Purim story, as told in the biblical Megillat Esther, offers a picture of a world turned upside down in which a Jewish orphan becomes a Persian queen. The architect of a plan to kill the Jews dies at the hands of his primary target, and an assimilated diaspora community institutes a new holiday for Jews everywhere. Appropriately, the annual celebration of this upside-downness involves donning costumes, which allows us to be somebody else for the day, the suspension of certain laws, parodies of everyone and everything, and much drinking, eating, and merriment. At the same time, as it invites lighthearted fun, the Purim story contains within it a dark side in which the oppressed seem to become the oppressor. Megillat Esther ends with the Jews carrying out a bloody battle in which more than 75,000 people lose their lives and in which fear of death prompts countless others to feign Jewishness. Is that the plan for Iran? Is just mass murder and genocide? And if that is the case, could they really be just that brazen about it? Just tweeting out, hey guys, this is what we're doing and you better get on board or else.
Look, there are massive divisions over what we've done here. And people are going to change their minds over the coming days and weeks, one way or the other. But my own feeling is no one should have to die for a foreign country.
Megyn Kelly says no one should have to die for a foreign country. But unfortunately, here we are. We are heartbroken to learn that Declan Coady, a well-loved and highly dedicated Drake University student studying information systems, cybersecurity, and computer science, was confirmed to be among the 6 U.S. service members killed in Kuwait on Sunday. He has bravely served in the U.S. Army Reserve since 2023 as an information technology specialist and had an incredibly bright future ahead of him in moments like these. So we must all come together to show much-needed love and compassion for the Coady family and this incredibly difficult time. Incredibly sad and incredibly unfortunate, totally avoidable in my opinion. And according to President Trump, he's one of 6 right now, but there could be more people who will sacrifice their lives on behalf of, I don't know, a war. I think we can call it a war. And you could say that this war is being fought not just for a foreign country, but also this war would perhaps lead to a complete realignment of the world order, with the country we are fighting this war on behalf of becoming the host nation that will reign supreme, and with us being the subservient client state. That, of course, is all theoretical for now, but perhaps where we are headed. That is it for me today. Once again, I appreciate you for coming on this journey with me to learn the truth about what is really going on out there in the world. A big thank you to Professor Jiang and the work that he does, and hopefully we together are going to be able to untangle the web, so to speak, before it swallows us whole. And despite maybe the bleakness of where we're at, I remain optimistic. Let me know where you are at with all of this in the comment section below. If you want to support my journalism, you can become a member by going into my website, 5149jameslee.com. You can also pick yourself up some merch there. But if you're not able to, no worries at all. Just take a second to like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends and family so we can expand our community. Subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can be the first to know when my next video drops. As always, thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you in the next one.
说真的，我作为一个中国人，我的认知我几乎无法同情以色列人，包括在现在。 打仗了，防空洞只能他们以色列人进去，其他国家的人不行。哇靠！我作为一个中国人，我的认知，我真的无法同情他们和理解他们在现在的行为。